my screen visible to all of you?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. I see only 3 of us. Shall we wait for another 2 minutes?
Ma'am, today's class is a technical demo, right?
Today's class is about data and technologies.
Okay.
Fine. Let's get started. So let's talk about data first. So when I say data, what do you know about data, guys? What do you know about data? What is data?
So data is the information.
Okay. Many people, what do you feel? What is data? Guys, I expect an answer. You can't be quiet. Okay, thanks for your response. So basically, data is information, but let's talk brief about how that information is. We have obtains, we have size of it, and we also have the storage of it. So we have to talk the data when we become a data analyst. We have to understand the data and we work on the data. We have to understand the data in a different ways. First thing is how it is obtained. The second one, the size of it. And the third one is storage of it. So when it comes to data obtains, what does the data contain? It can contain A to Z, 0 to 9. It can also contain some special characters. And some of the data also contain images, some contains videos, you have audios. These are the different kinds of data we have. And when I talk about the size of it, so when I talk about the size of it, it changes. So first, initially, we count it as 0, 1, the binary format. From there, it changes to 0, 1, and then from there, it changes to bit. And 4 bits is called nibble. Then we have 8 bits, we have byte, and from there you have KB, MB, GB, TB, PB followed by PB, and then you have exabytes, zettabytes, and all that based on the size of data. Now, when I talk about storage, the first storage format we use is file formats. So, there are some examples of file formats we have. The first format we have is file, as I told. In that, can you guys name me? Okay, you decided not to be interactive. Sorry. So the file formats we have is the first file which is used for analytics is Excel, in which you have .xlsx extensions, you have .xls, and you have .csv files. All these file extensions you have. Other than this, you can also store your data in PDF, .txt, you have .jsons, and you also have .xml, etc. You have a lot of file formats, but out of which the basic file format which we have is Excel to store the data. Now let's talk about Excel. Is Excel limited or unlimited? If we talk about that question, Excel is unlimited. People go with that, but there is some limitation in Excel both in rows and columns. The limitation in Excel is, anyways, we are also in Excel right now. If I do control down arrow, see, this is the limit of rows we have in Excel for a single sheet. So it's approximately 10 million. And when I go with columns, you have a limitation of 16K, 16,000 columns. So because of this limitation we have, for example, if you have a data of a hospital, let's take the Gandhi Hospital in Hyderabad. If you go with the Gandhi Hospital, it's a government hospital. It has multiple sections in it, multiple departments, I mean. So in each department, there will be a minimum of 500 patients per day because it's a government general hospital. And then you have a minimum of 500 patients in a day. Now, when we talk about the data the way it is, for example, I have Devi coming to the Gandhi hospital and she went to ortho department and had a outpatient consultation. And now for that outpatient, she had paid a bill of 500. Now again, the same person, Devi, in the same hospital goes to a diagnostics department and goes for an X-ray and paid a bill of 200. Again, the same patient might also go to the same hospital to the diagnostics. She might also go with some other scanning. Right. This way, the same patient might have multiple rows. Now, you go like this 500 patients with multiple rows and 500 patients per day. If you want to analyze the data for last 6 months to 1 year, we cannot fit that complete data in Excel, right? If you try to fit it in multiple sheets, if you want to analyze it, you will have a double work there. You have to analyze first sheet, take the outputs, and again analyze second sheet, take the output, again do a cumulative of all that, right? So that would be a tougher task. So that's the reason we got something called database. So when I talk about database is limited or unlimited? Is it limited or unlimited?
Unlimited.
Okay, database is unlimited in with respect to the storage, right? Can you guys
Yes.
name some databases? Thanks, Vijay, for being
Yes.
interactive.
SQL.
MySQL,
SQL, Oracle,
Okay, people are
DBA.
saying
datasets,
AWS.
SQ. One second. When you say SQL, can you guys give me the full form of SQL?
structure query
Query
Structured
language,
language.
query
Is that a
language.
database or a language?
It's a
language,
language.
Then when I asked you databases, you should not tell me SQL. Okay. So
MySQL,
tell me the list of
Yes.
databases.
MySQL,
You have MySQL,
Oracle DB,
Oracle, DB2,
DB, yes, DB2. You
and
have SQL
Snowflake,
Server,
AWS.
SQL Server. AWS is a cloud.
Cloud.
It's not
Yeah.
database.
HANA DB,
Sorry.
HANA,
Okay. HANA DB.
Snowflake,
Next, you
etc.
have no. Snowflake is mostly considered as cloud. You have PostgreSQL. You have Teradata. You have MariaDB, etc.
MongoDB,
So all this comes under. Sorry.
Mongo,
Yeah, it's MongoDB. So these all comes under databases. The language which is used in this is the SQL, the structured query language. That means, for example, if I teach this class in Tamil, will you guys understand?
no,
No.
Obviously, no. If I teach in Urdu,
no,
no. But if I teach in English,
yes,
Yes.
similarly, databases knows the only language called SQL. And nowadays, the data is stored in databases. If you want to talk to that data, you should know SQL language. And it is a structured query language. When you say it's a structured query language, you cannot change the way you want it. You just have to learn the way it is. That's what is syntax. So, however it is designed, we have to learn its language. That won't adjust to our way of asking. So, if I go to database and say, hey, display this, it won't. You have to say, select the star from this table. Only then it will work. It is like that. So, ma'am, is SQL same for all the databases? There will be minute changes. For example, if you guys see the languages which we use, suppose if I talk in Hindi, the Hindi used in Hyderabad and the Hindi used in the north side, there will be slight differences in the wordings, right? But the meaning would be same. Similarly, small Few functions there will be differences, but the language way of writing everything would remain same. Clear? Okay. So this way, in databases, we have to learn SQL language. Always remember, database is a container which stores data, and SQL is a language which is used to talk to this database. And so one limitation which we have for database, which I personally experienced while working is, so I had an SQL server in my office work. I tried to query 1 lakh records. It was very quick, in fraction of seconds I got the output. But when I tried to query 5 lakh records, I got a buffering kind of stuff. It took some time to give me the answer. Similarly, you might also have experienced it if you guys are pass outs in 1990s in your 10th standard. When you search for your result of your 10th standard, did you get the result immediately or did it buffer for some time?
It buffered.
Because a lot of people checks for the result at the same time, it did buffer, right?
Yep.
Correct?
Yes.
So that is the drawback we have with the database. So that's the reason we got something called cloud. Can you tell me, is the cloud limited or unlimited?
Unlimited.
This is
Unlimited.
absolutely unlimited. And can you name some clouds with the companies which provide it?
AWS, GCP,
AWS.
AWS, Azure,
By AWS, by
Amazon.
Azure,
guys, listen to the question carefully. I said name some clouds with the company which provides it. So when you say AWS, immediately
Amazon
tell
or
me the company.
Amazon.
Amazon,
AWS by Amazon.
Amazon.
Next, what do you have?
Azure,
Azure,
Microsoft,
Azure.
Azure.
Microsoft,
By
Azure,
Microsoft.
Microsoft. Next, GCP
I-
by
Google.
Google,
Google. IBM by
IBM
IBM is
Cloud by
IBM.
IBM.
Cloud,
Oracle by Oracle.
Oracle.
Correct.
Right? I'm going with the names of the companies because when you go to the jobs, at least you should know the companies which provides them, right? So fine. So you have all this. Now, what is the difference between database and cloud? I'll make it simple to you guys. I'll give you a layman example. For example, you have a sister. I think this example would make everyone understand it with 50 LPA package. And in the same house, you have a father with 1.5 CR as annual income. Okay. Now, if you want to purchase a chocolate, will you go directly to your father or your sister can afford it?
Sister can afford it.
You need not disturb your father, right? For chocolate, you can go with sister. Now, if you want a bicycle worth 3,000, whom do you go with, sister or father? Your father
Even
is not
that's
required. Sister
also
can do it, right?
sister can do that.
Yeah. If you want a bike,
Sister can handle it.
Sister,
exactly. If you want a bike, sister can do. If you want a car,
Then
Father.
sister can't do
father.
this.
see now you're in a confusion now. Sister actually can afford it, but we have a very good bonding with us brother and sister, right? That bond is putting a question mark. At the same time, she is earning 50 LPA. She might opt for EMI, right? Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So that's the reason you are in a confusion whether to go with sister or father, right? Sister can go for it, but she will buffer and choose for EMI. But if I go with father, it would be a one-time payment.
Yes.
Now, if I want a house,
Father,
father,
Father.
definitely father, right? Now, when you gave me these answers, did you check the size of it or the cost of it?
Cost.
size,
Cost of.
cost,
Obviously, the cost of it and if they can afford. Now, in place of sister, imagine database and the in place of father as cloud, and in place of cost of it, imagine the size of it. That's how we decide our project.
Okay.
Got it? Understood the basic difference between database and cloud?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. Hope the example was useful.
It was good.
Yeah. So whenever we go with a sister, she can do it. But I told you database will buffer. That's what is EMI of a car. Now, when it comes to father, he is unlimited. Right? And another thing is the cost of it also. For database, no, you have to pay the bill first itself. Either you use it or you don't use it. But for cloud, suppose in this month you're using 3 GB, pay only for 3 GB. Next month you're using 3.2, pay only for 3.2. But when it comes to database purchase, no, you have to decide before itself if you want 10 GB or 20 GB. Either you use it or you don't use it, you have to pay the bill. Got it? The way it is costing? And based on the size of data, you store your data in databases and clouds. The person who does this work of putting your data in a proper structure and cleaning it and stuff, we call them as data engineer. Got it?
Yes.
So if he is working on AWS, he is called AWS engineer. If he is working on Azure, he is called Azure engineer. If he is working on GCP, he is called GCP engineer. Okay. And if he is working particularly on database, he will also be called as DBA, database admin. These designations would be based on this. Suppose if he is working completely on this cloud, he is also called as cloud specialist. Designations would be different based on the cloud he is using again. Got it? But ultimately, whoever is working on cleaning the data and structuring it properly, they are the data engineers, DE team. Clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to data, okay, once the data is clean, that has to go to someone to get an understanding. For that, let's go with an example. For example, I have Monday. A person has purchased 2 milk packets. On Tuesday, a person has purchased 2 milk packets. Wednesday, he took one. And Thursday, he again purchased 2 milk packets. Friday, he again did two. Saturday, he took two. Sunday, again, he took two. And Monday, how many milk packets would he take?
12.
On Monday, how many milk packets would he take?
2.
2.
It is
How could you say that?
2.
No, how could you say that?
Because the Monday we purchased, last Monday we purchased 2 milk packets. So the repeating, sir, right?
So you're
It
looking
might
at
be.
the
Pattern.
patterns in the data. Because this data is very small, you're looking at it very easily. How about if the data is very huge?
Yeah, we can't say.
The probability might differ.
Probability might differ, right?
Yes.
Correct. Based on the probability, based on the things we have here, we decide whether to go with number 2 milk packets or something like that. Correct. So you're analyzing the historical data here.
Yes.
Are you analyzing the historical data? So when you're analyzing the historical data, that is data analyst job. Whoever is doing this part of the work to know what is already happened, what has already happened, they are called data analyst. And based on what they understood what had happened, if they try to predict by understanding the patterns in the data, they are data scientists. Got it?
Got that.
Hope it's making sense.
Data
Yes.
scientists will prediction the data for it will use the previous data or like how it is?
They'll use obviously historical data. If not, they don't have a clue, right? They will observe the pattern in the historical data. Okay. Ravi Prakash, if you want to talk to your personal things or something, don't join here. You're here to listen to the class, right? Fine. So, if you're working on the historical data understanding, you're a data analyst. For that, again, you are a data analyst. Very good. But what data are you analyzing also decides your designation. And what tool you're using. Suppose you're using SQL to analyze your data. You're called SQL developer. Got it? Suppose you are using Python. You are a data analyst, but using Python. You can also be called as Python developer. You will develop visuals using Python. Suppose you're using Power BI. You're called Power BI developer. You're using Tableau. You're called Tableau developer. Got it? How you're designated? If you're working on finance data, you're called finance analyst.
Finance analyst.
Exactly. If you're working on workforce management, you're called a workforce analyst. If you're working on credit card data, you're called a credit
Credit
analyst.
analyst.
If you're working on fraud data, any fraud it is, you're called a fraud analyst. So the designation, any of the other way, any of this, you're analyzing the data only. But if you're analyzing financial data, what type of data you're analyzing, your designation might be there. Based on the tool you're working, also your designation might be there. But ultimately, you're analyzing the data. Is that clear?
Yes.
Understood how the designations would be in the office?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
now,
Yes.
when you're analyzing the data, if you're working on Python Tableau, sorry, Power BI Tableau, you need to get the data from somewhere, right? They are tools. They don't have the data inside it. We have to get the data from somewhere to here, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So that's the reason we are learning SQL database. And one more thing. These are the tools developed on the basics of SQL and Excel. That's the reason if you learn SQL, it's easy for you to understand Power BI. That's the only reason why we teach SQL before teaching Power BI. Making sense?
Yes.
This course will have SQL to the advanced level which is required for Power BI and then followed by Power BI.
If we get data from like Azure, then we have to learn Azure
Even
also.
though you get data from Azure, in
Yeah.
Azure also the data is stored in databases only.
Okay.
I'll show you. You think that cloud is something more different, but cloud is not only for storage, it provides multiple services. For example, I'll take Amazon. In Amazon, if you look at the services it provides, see the products. In the products, you have something called databases again, which is used to store the data. In that, again, you have, say, with MongoDB compatibility, RDBMS. In RDBMS, again, you have the database engines. That is, you again have PostgreSQL, MySQL, MariaDB. Got it?
Okay.
So it seems like in the background, the support is cloud. So like your father, ultimately you want to purchase a car, either with the father's support or direct sister support. Got
Okay.
it? Ultimately, you have to
Okay.
learn SQL, and SQL is a language which is used to talk to the data. Okay? And other than talking with the
Okay.
data, the most important reason why we are learning SQL is if you open Power BI and look at the options in it, half of the options are related to Power BI only. Sorry, related to SQL only. We have something
SQL.
called group by, we have something called joins. Those all are the basics of SQL, right? In SQL, you will understand how exactly things are happening in the background. Once you understand how things are happening in the background, based on that, when you click on that option in Power BI, you will understand why that output has come for you. That's the reason we need SQL. Okay?
Okay.
Ma'am,
And once again, and any prerequisites required for this course, ma'am? No. If you know nothing, also that's fine. Come with an interesting brain and a full charged laptop. Let's learn together. That's what I'll say. Okay?
Super.
Making sense? But
Yes.
when you
Yes.
are in the class, you have to be interactive, be attentive in the class. If you start interacting, no, it'll be very easy. It'll be like a storytelling for you. It'll go just like how you remember your movie stories.
That's true.
Trust me, you will learn very good. Okay?
Yes.
Any questions for me?
ma'am, should we learn mandatory SQL language as a Power BI developer?
Yes.
Okay. So are we going to write any queries? I mean, ma'am,
Yes.
in Power BI.
Yes.
Okay.
In real time, we cannot decide. You also have an option in SQL, but not about query writing. The most important part is, see, in Power BI, suppose for example, if I click on an option, will you understand what is happening in the background? In a tool, for example, if you click on it, do you know what happens in the background?
Definitely no.
But in SQL, you
Right.
can understand because you write each and everything in a query.
Okay.
Got it? So it makes your Power BI journey easier if you learn SQL. Trust me, if you spend like 3 to 4 weeks on SQL, you hardly need 2 to 3 weeks to finish Power BI. That
Yes.
easy your life would be in Power BI if you learn SQL. Okay?
Yes.
Ma'am, we'll start first SQL or Power BI, ma'am.
SQL we will start first so that we are very good at basics. Then we will go to Power BI for the application of this, whatever basics you have learned.
For writing Power BI queries, we need SQL
In Power BI, we don't
language.
have queries. In
Okay, we don't
SQL,
have.
we will write queries and understand the concepts. That
Okay.
concepts we will apply in Power BI by clicking on it.
Okay. For writing like new measures.
That is DAX. DAX is another different language.
Okay.
SQL is a different language and DAX is a different language.
Okay.
In SQL, we call it functions and formulas and
Okay.
syntax we write in SQL. In DAX, we write formulas.
Okay.
Formula is different, syntax writing and functions is different, right? Okay?
Yes. Yes,
Don't
I
worry, don't
understand.
get scared. It's very easy to learn. Only if you concentrate, very little concentration is enough. It's very easy to learn.
Okay.
It's not that difficult. Okay? But did
Yes.
you understand about today's session about data and technologies? Was
Ye-
that helpful? Did it make some sense?
Yeah, we
Yes.
Yes.
understand the concept.
Did it made you understand the difference between data engineer, data analyst, and a data scientist?
Yep.
Yes.
And if you learn Power BI, you know what designations you get now, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can
Yes.
also be called as a data analyst. You can also be called as a Power BI developer. You are also called as a finance analyst. If you're working on finance data, you're called as a credit analyst. If you're working on credit data, it absolutely depends on the company. Few companies go with the data they're working on, designations based on the data they're working. Few goes with designation based on the tool they're working. Few goes general designation as data analyst. Okay.
Yes.
Ma'am, where exactly, what data engineer the roles and what data analyst the roles, ma'am?
That's what I told already. If you're working on any storage related, either it is database or cloud or something, you're a data engineer.
Mhm.
After the data is clear and stored already somewhere, you are trying to work on the data which is ready and you're analyzing what happened in his business. Then you're a data analyst.
So,
You, hmm.
so first, data engineer will analyze the data firstly. So after that,
I didn't say, did I say data engineer will analyze the data or did I say he will arrange the data?
He
mhm.
arranges the data.
Exactly. He will arrange the data and give it to you either in database or cloud based on size of it. After he arranges the data analyst will analyze the data using any of these tools.
Ma'am,
Any
arranges
tool it
means what,
is.
ma'am?
Arrange in the sense, for example, see, you purchase vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
Will you eat the vegetables directly or will you give it to your wife or sister or mother to cook it?
Yeah, someone has to take care of that.
What do you mean by cook it? That means it should be ready to consume, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Similarly, client is collecting the data in website. But I cannot take the data from website directly. It should be stored somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
That stored somewhere thing data engineer will take care of.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
So as a data analyst also, I think is going to get right, ma'am.
1 second, your question is not clear. You said as a data analyst also we are going to get. What are you going to get? As a data analyst, what are you expecting? Can you be
So,
clear on your question?
yes, ma'am. I'll repeat my question again. So
Hmm.
as a data analyst also, we are going to, connect the data source and get the data also, right?
Yes, we are going to connect the data source which data engineer has prepared.
Okay.
Suppose he kept the data in cloud. From being a data analyst, you will connect to that cloud and get the data and work, understand the data.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose he kept your data in database. We will connect to that database and understand the data. Okay?
Okay.
Any other questions, guys?
No.
No? We are good?
Yeah. Good.
Yes.
I hope, can you give me a genuine review? Was the session useful?
Yes, it was.
Especially
Yes.
for people who don't know a little about IT,
Yeah, it is useful for me as well.
right? So
Yes.
this is my way of teaching actually. This is how I go from the basics.
Yes.
Similarly, how I went with the basics talking about from data. Tomorrow, I will tell you guys the brief overview of Power BI. What you will learn in Power BI, what modules you have in Power BI, I'll tell you in brief. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Any questions for me? Please feel free to shoot out questions you have.
So when we are connecting data in Power BI,
Mm-hmm.
like SQL data or anything, so in that, if there is any like we have to change the data for that purpose, we have to learn the queries, or we have to
No,
write
no,
the
no.
queries in that.
After data coming into Power BI, you have 4 different modules in Power BI to clean that data.
Okay.
Clean the data, do the everything. Once data comes into the Power BI, you have to do everything in Power BI only. Before
Okay.
data coming into Power BI, if you want to change the data, then you do it in database.
Okay.
Okay?
That will be done by data analyst or data engineer only.
Depends on the company. Sometimes you have to do it,
Okay.
sometimes others will do it. That's the reason I ask people to learn SQL.
Okay. That is called like data modeling or what we
No, it's
call.
not called data modeling, it's just query writing. It's just ETL,
Okay.
cleaning the data. Data
Okay.
modeling is a module in Power BI. That won't come before. It will come after going
Okay.
into Power BI.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Any other questions?
Nothing from me.
So we are good?
Yes,
Ma'am,
we are
as a
good.
data engineer, like even so, what are the technologies we need to learn, ma'am?
If you are as a data engineer, what technologies you want to learn, you need to know. Go to the data engineering demo. That should be a better choice. Because I, being a data analyst and Power BI developer, ask me the technologies
I'm
for
just
Power
asking,
BI,
like, ma'am.
I'll say tomorrow. No, for data engineer, I cannot tell you here. I'm not sure about, because I'm not here to teach data engineering. I think you already have here what all you data engineer does. Here technologies are also written.
Your voice break, ma'am.
The technologies used by data engineer is already written here. And I don't want to concentrate more on data engineering and data scientist. I want to more concentrate on data analytics. Okay? Am I breaking or am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
It is
Your
Yes,
voice
audible.
is
ma'am.
clear.
Okay. Shall we wind up with this? You're good?
Yes, good.
Yes, good.
Okay then. Thanks for your time, guys. Let's
Yeah.
meet back tomorrow. Similarly, how we discussed on data, we'll discuss brief on overview of Power BI so that you understand
Okay.
what all things you are learning.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay then. Thank you guys.
Thank
See you
you.
all
Have a
back
nice day.
tomorrow. Have a lovely day. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Yeah. Thank you.